Reality on the ground, the real people, real issues with me, Andrew Chama. And see 9 public universities, they have actually laid down the tools. It's an industrial action. They're saying they're not going to teach again the non-teaching staff and the teaching staff of these 9 universities. Well, this comes on the heels of government failing to clear their areas that are tallying to 29.5 billion Ugandan shillings. This is an overwhelming figure, and we're here to discuss what this means to us as a nation. And we are coming to you live from Kyambogo University. I have a couple of students with me. I have a professor, and the non-teaching staffs actually are joining me. But we need to understand, what does this mean to us? Professor Jackson, good morning. I'll hold for you, don't worry. What does this mean?
There is something I would like to first collect.
Please.
We are looking for not only 29.8 billion,
yes,
but there is also another 4.3 billion, which is for the support staff.
Okay.
And we have letters committing the government from the 3 respective ministers, that is finance, public service, and education. And with our constituencies behind us, we have been suspending this industrial action for more than 3 times. But now we have unanimously agreed that let come next semester, we are not resuming any kind of activity or work at any university.
And what are the chronological flow of authority? Is it entirely just Kyambogo University or the ones in... Do you have a management team that is managing this strike?
Yeah, the issue is that all public universities are under 2 umbrella organizations. We have FASP, which deals with all teaching staff.
Let's look in the camera, yes.
And we have also the non-teaching staff, which is under PUNTSEF. So all universities are involved. We have also gone ahead to form a national industrial committee, which will be in charge of all members within individual institutions.
Okay.
And this will be directly informing us where there is a hiccup. And of course, as Kyambogo, that also means a lot, because for us as Kyambogo, we deal directly with PTCs, these are teacher training colleges,
yes,
and NTCs. All of them are affiliated to our institution.
So does that mean if this strike is actually going to run, it's going to cut through all the way down?
Of course, this will have an impact on activities of these institutions.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Let's talk to the students. Good morning.
Good morning.
Your name is Sebo?
My name is John Paul Gembe.
John Paul Gembe, what does this industrial act from the lecturers and non-teaching staff mean to you?
Actually, this is going to be something which is going to affect students, the parents, and everyone who is a stakeholder in the university. Because once these people make a strike, then we shall receive no services. And therefore, the parents will lose, the students will lose, and that means that the syllabus may not be covered.
Sebo, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Your name is Sebo?
My name is Sajab Evan Cyprian.
Sajab, you have an exam today, right?
No, I have tomorrow.
You have tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm a student here,
okay,
Bachelor of Economics and Statistics.
What does this mean to you when we have an industrial action from the non-teaching and the teaching staff?
Yes, if the industrial action is there, it means I will have an effect on my results, because remember it's starting early next semester, which is my final semester, meaning the semester may start a bit late, meaning I'll have a lot of work to do in a short period of time. So there will be an impact on my results at the end of it all.
How best can we fix this? You as a student, how do you think this can be fixed?
This can be fixed. The government just has to come in and it sorts these people with their money.
It promised money, it didn't deliver. Where do you think is the problem now?
The problem, the government should bring the money, because the government has the money. As an economist, I believe when people are poor in an economy, the government has deliberately failed to perform its duties, because it owns all the resources and it can actually get the money and pay these people. Let it get loans and it pays the people and everything moves on smoothly.
Keith Mwakaniz, I'm sure you're getting this live. Good morning, Sebo.
Good morning.
Your name?
Musana Fahad.
Musana Fahad.
Yeah.
Are you a student of economics as well?
I'm also a student of the same course with this guy.
What do you make of the industrial action? How can we fix it? Now, you guys always have solutions.
Yeah, now it's because I know even if you're in a public university, but
yes,
you pay tuition.
Absolutely.
And now that tuition is used to pay workers, cleaners, and even the lecturers.
Yeah.
So if the government is failing, that means that maybe that money is converted to other means which are not meant to be for it.
Okay. What does this mean to you if they go on strike? If the professor and the non-teaching staff and no service provider is actually giving service, what does it mean to you?
Of course, for the university to move on, we must receive services and, of course, education.
Yeah.
So if professors are now demonstrating, that one means that we shall not study. And maybe for us who are in the final year, we might be affected.
So when you don't study, are you planning to strike as well?
No.
Professor, back to you. If this is happening, the students are getting a ripple effect of what is happening, how best should the nation prepare?
We have engaged the government since 2015. Anyway, it was a proposal of the president that a professor should earn 15 million one-off from 2015. But again, finance said no. We may not implement it properly. Let us face it and give us a period. By 2020, a professor should be earning 15 million. But surprisingly, we have not even gone to 10 million. So meaning there is a problem. And the problem is that if it is to be solved, then the government should come up with a buffer and pay this money once and for all.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, NTV. How are
Let's
you?
look straight in the camera. Your name,
Yes,
sir?
I'm Nyeko Edward,
Yes, Nyeko.
actually Vice Chairman
Oh,
of Union.
nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Okay, what do you make of the strike? You people are going on a strike. What has failed? Where has government failed?
Well, I would not say the government has failed, but I believe there is a deliberate.
Come closer, sir.
Yes, I would say because this is a work in progress.
Yes.
We have always been promised, and I cannot tell you that the government has not worked to its commitment. But we are saying we are demanding 100% of the pledge.
Yeah.
That's what we are saying. And you know, as time goes by, we feel a bit impatient because we need the money. You understand the way economy is working.
Yeah.
What we are earning right now sometimes cannot meet serious basic needs. So we are saying we have tools in our hands, and we can use the tools. and we are also saying that it's not a last resort yet.
Yes.
We are only sounding a warning. But I believe we are so friendly, and the government at the end of the day.
So this strike is a friendly move, Kwanzaa.
It's still friendly.
We are live from Chambogo, and he says the strike is a friendly move.
Yes.
Good morning, Sebo.
Morning, sir.
Your name, sir?
I'm called Andrew Aboyang.
Nice to meet you, Andrew.
Yeah, thank
You're
you.
a support structure.
Yes.
Okay, what do you make of the strike that has come through?
Well, first of all, we thank the government for having fulfilled part of the initial promise.
Yeah.
We are not saying that we have not achieved anything. We have achieved at least 50% or 70% of what was promised initially. But why we are so much engaged in this industrial action, which we are proposing, is just because money was released, not released, but money was approved by cabinet. That was like 29.5 billion. But up to now, we have not received that money. We were supposed to receive that money in July. But up to now, we have not received that money. So when we went on engaging government, the stakeholders in the sister ministries, they documented. It was a document. They released a document, which is to place that money will be released in January. But we are not sure because this is not the first time that the government has promised something and it was done. So we are much eager to see to it that money is released.
There you have it. He says there was a promise that this money will be released in around January, right? And it's just December. Professor, can't we wait? Where have we lost the hope?
As leaders, there are some indicators. There are some indicators.
Like?
And these indicators come over time. Like last time we went to engage the Minister of Education, and we are not received well. Even the permanent secretary went out of the office abruptly. And
But he knew you were coming.
he knew we were coming. We had even an appointment. Again, there is a letter which we have been expecting as a feedback to our letter, but they have failed to reply.
All these are indicators.
These are indicators. And to be sincere, the fact that we are aware that this financial quota is ending in December, then the way he has mentioned that is a friendly move, we must tell them what we are going to do so that they are aware. And if they want to avert the situation, then should also work in our expectation.
So now that this is the situation you've placed, like he says, it's a sound warning. So what should we expect beyond that?
As a leader, I wouldn't even call it a sound warning, because when you are warning, you may not be ready to act by that time.
Yes.
But the fact is that we are ready to act. Enough has been enough.
This money was approved, and Sebo, join us for this conversation. This money was approved according to the support staff. Andrew says the money was approved, but it has not come down to the different receivers. Those are the teaching staff and the non-teaching staff. What do you make of that? Your name, Sebo?
My name is Stefan Katerega. I'm a student of Chambogo University. I do
Yes.
arts with education, history and French. I'm also saddened by their request for the money, because without money, really, you cannot really have your basic needs. And as a teacher, I'm so saddened by this, because if they are not paid, that means even we the students will have to participate in their quest.
Hey,
In a
how
way
are you
that-
going to participate in their strike?
In a way that if they are not paid, that means our scripts will not be marked in time.
So?
And with the scripts not being marked in time, that means our results will be delayed. So when our results are delayed to be pushed on the portals, then we shall also have to stand up and request for them in our commonest way
How
possible.
are you going to stand here? What is your commonest way? I don't want... I really need to be put to speed here.
Our commonest way, first of all, we liaise with the heads of departments and the lecturers and find out the amicable reason or the best reason as to why the results have delayed. Then if they don't give us a sufficient resolution to that, after our peaceful means or demonstration having come to, then we come up with what we call a way. So way makes those guys really wake up. But I think one of the reasons why money is delayed, maybe it is rechanneled. That's maybe my view. It could be gotten, maybe they have released it and someone is putting it on a fixed deposit account to accumulate some profits. That is my assumption. I don't know, it could be challenged.
But should we... Are the strikes the only answers? Is strike the only language this government listens to?
Well, as I told you before, you see, we have several tools. You see, strike in its own context, you know, you can do it in different ways.
Yes.
You can sit back home and you don't come. You can be violent, or you can ignite a group of people to do something. But as I told you before, you see, this is not the last resort. We are only sounding a warning. Because it's not the first time. The government has committed itself. And we have documented evidence. We have legal evidence. And I would not say that the government is not willing to give us the money. But we are saying time is running out. We need the money. I don't need the money in 2021. I need it right now. Yes, because I have the use now.
They're saying money was approved. Andrew, you have something to say?
And another thing is, if you promise to give someone some money, like 6 months ago, and if you have never given that money to that person, you have done this service. Because that money would have depreciated, and the value would have been lost. But now this is the scenario where we were supposed to get this money in July, but up to now, we have not been given the money. It is not that it is not for the first time that we are pushing for it. Money was approved by cabinet. That is like 29.5 billion. And we don't know where the bottleneck is, whether it is the Ministry of Finance or Public Service or what. But what we know is Ministry of Finance is directly dealing with the release of money. But Public Service deals with the payroll or salary structures. So we don't blame Public Service for this. The bottleneck might be in the Ministry of Finance. That's what we know.
Professor, what do you make of this? Where is the bottleneck? He is trying to highlight a couple of things. Public service does its work. Minister of Education does its work. Finance is trying to do its work. Because money was approved, where do you think is the bottleneck?
The major bottleneck lies in finance, I could also say. I remember when we met His Excellency the President of the Republic of Uganda in Entebbe on the 16th of August. He directly told me that I must follow up that money on all task forces.
You who was given the money, have you done that?
That's what I'm coming to. I have gone to all ministers in the finance, including Honorable Matia Kaseija, including Honorable Bahati. I've gone to the permanent secretary. We have really visited every office.
Have they listened? Have they given solutions?
They have always been giving us promises, and in our last meeting, we agreed that this money should be released immediately. Let come the end of this financial this quarter. But the challenge is, whenever they complain that the money cash flows are not all that beautiful, tomorrow we hear them announcing that URA has shot even beyond the what? The target. So we are saying if the URA is shooting beyond the target, why don't we have what belongs to us? Let us have what belongs to us so that we can also smile.
Okay. What do you make of that? Because he says that URA says you have gone beyond the target, and this side they're saying there is no money. Money is not coming through.
Actually, we are worried because we are well aware that every vote that is put in the budget, the money comes from URA. And if the money was, if they've hit the target, let our professors, let our lecturers get their share. If it is not there, that means it was diverted to other means, which we don't conquer with. So that means at the end of the day, we have to join them.
So you think there is no transparency on how money is released and where it goes to?
Exactly.
Okay.
I think that is the major problem.
Good morning, Sebo.
Good morning.
Someone said that in case this fails, there is going to be an approach called Wewe. Do you think this approach from the students liaising with the teaching and the non-teaching staff will actually bring the answers?
Fire cannot stop fire.
So what do we do?
But all what is needed here is monitoring. Whoever releases this money should just monitor as the money reach the correct people it has to go to. Then we would not be seeing this way. If monitoring has failed, then there is need to do good communication. I think communication also brings this danger.
But you see, the professor has been at all levels. He has followed the money. And all of these, he says, on court, these are indicators money is not coming very soon. Do you think we need an overhaul change of the entire way how money actually reaches the people on the ground?
There is need to just revise and correct the mistakes.
Like?
Whosoever has to raise this money should be enlightened and be warned against further aggressiveness of the students to bring in strikes.
Is that a threat?
Actually, in the first place, it is misleading so that the money was not released, yet they have not received it. So if it was released, then someone is holding it. I support them to impose that some pressure to make them bring out the money.
In fact, even me, I could imagine that it is true. We are supposed to strike, because sometimes
you are supposed to strike.
Because if that money was released and it has not yet come to the lecturers or professors, that one means that if we don't strike, then the person who gave that money to the lecturers won't get it, and they will not know that it was not reached. So sometimes it is necessary to strike.
Professor, do you believe Uganda police should be ready for whatsoever in case this money fails to come in?
I have done what it means. I have gone to Muni. Excuse me. I've gone to Malala. I have visited almost every university apart from these new universities that have come.
Oh yeah, we have new universities. We have Busoga.
We have Busoga is coming on board, and the mountains of the moon. And we welcome them anyway. We welcome this because we want to expand it. We would love to see higher education expanding. Yes. But what we also want the government to commit itself is also to expand the envelope. Because they bring new universities and fail to expand the resources. If you produce 3 children 1 year, and you have been with also 2 or 3, don't you have a larger saucepan so that your children can feed well. So that's what they lack. We need to expand the resource envelope so that at least our colleagues who join us can also benefit.
Does that mean, Professor, before these other new universities came into play, they should have catered for the previous areas and then they think about bringing these ones on board?
When this project, let me call it a project, was beginning, way after the presidential directive, finance earmarked 50 billion for the teaching staff and 28.5 for the non-teaching staff. That made it 78.5. And this is the money that really has been given to all public universities, even after expanding the whatever, after expanding the size. And surprisingly, this financial year, they just gave us only 58. 58 billion, of which we are complaining about this 29.8. So meaning really, the government has failed to commit itself in expanding the resource envelope in order to meet the presidential directive target.
Andrew, do you think every now and again the president should actually dive into such matters? Do you believe in our policymakers? Do you believe in the policies we have as a nation?
Right now where we are, that is too small for the president. Because he has done what he could. He has done his best. And we thank him for that. Because it was his initiative that university lecturers and workers generally should be paid at least averagely fair. And it has been implemented. And where we are, we have achieved so far around 70% of what he has approved out of his promise. It is too small for him. I know the bottleneck of this thing might be in the Ministry of Finance. Because Cabinet has approved 29.5 billion. And the leader of government business is always the Prime Minister. So I believe when they reach this decision of releasing or approving the 29.5 billion, it was from above. So there is somewhere someone is sitting on this money. And we want to tell that person, the president,
that person needs to hear this.
The president has done all what he could. And we thank him for that. We appreciate. We appreciate. Very much we appreciate what he has done for us. But there is someone who is frustrating what he has done. We have seen this one by the evidence that money was approved, 29.5 billion, but they have refused to give for us since July. So we are demanding for the areas for that money. Come January, with that money, the universities can open, but the workers will not come to work. Every worker will not come to work. That's what we have decided.
There you have it. Do you believe our policymakers are strong enough to actually go against this, or we have to dive in the president again?
I think we have to dive in the president again, because our policymakers are the ones who have failed him, maybe somehow, somewhere. As Professor Andrew has just said, the policymakers, maybe they're investing the money in bonds, treasury bills, or fixed deposit account, as someone just said, so that it matures up and then they get some profit out of it. Other than that, the president has to come in.
Wow. As an economist, do you believe if the president gets this buffer once and delivers it to the union that handles this and they're cleared at once, will that solve everything?
Yeah, it will solve everything, because the problem that the lecturers are having is that they need their money and they can't deliver any service without their money. So if the president, if they actually get their money, as you have said, they will actually start delivering services and everything will move on.
Government says it wants to take it in phases. By 2020, Professor will be getting 15 million?
Professor is supposed to get 15 million by 2020. But if we keep on this pace, I don't see it coming true.
Let's compare the lecturers, someone within your caliber, in the neighboring countries. How much are they achieving?
A professor in Kenya is now earning around 45 million.
Ugandan shilling?
Kenyan shilling.
Kenyan shilling. You need 15 Ugandan.
For us, we are asking for 15. And my dear, the fact is that most Kenyan students are even here. We are teaching Kenyan students. Anyway, Ugandan education is a bit cheaper than one it is in Kenya and in Tanzania.
And it is better.
Even Uganda, and the best. Not better, but the best. It is the best in East Africa.
Wow.
Even Eastern Africa. Yeah.
But we are paid.
We are paid just as small as that. And surprisingly, when you consider the regional economy, I believe really we should be given also a priority. Whereas the Kenyans are agitating to get it somewhere, for us we are still saying, can we have this 15 years so that we in and Uganda. This is the same region.
You're a teacher. Yes. This is coming straight from the lecturers. I'm sure it will actually trim down to the teachers in the different institutions. What does this mean to you as a student?
As a teacher, first of all, I'm a French teacher and a history teacher. One of the results, of course, the problem has already been stated, that they lack their money and it has been delayed. And they have families to support and their basic needs as well. So my worry is that these economists and the people are supposed to release the money to these very people. They are going to actually cause what we call maybe people, like we have our resources, the professors and the other lecturers, they are so resourceful to this nation.
And the non-teaching staff.
Yes, and the non-teaching staff. And you have heard from the professor that they are paid relatively cheaper than the Kenyans and also other people around. And yet our education is the best. So what does this imply? That if their money does not deliver in time, that means they may have to look for greener pastures. And we shall lose these people. Maybe they will employ the Cubans.
Come on. Well, there you have it. It's a conversation we have had. We are live from Kyambogo University. Well, maybe to break it down, we need roughly, when we added 29.5 billion plus the other one?
For the other 4.3 billion.
So
that makes it to around the 32. Around 33.1, around there.
33.1 billion, that's all we need for this industrial action to actually go down and people go back to work. Well, let me tell it to you this way. If the teaching staff and the non-teaching staff are on strike, it will come down to the students. They'll come to school, they won't find teachers or any service provider. They'll get agitated and they'll strike. That means Uganda police needs to be on the alert. And the parents, I cannot look for money that hard, and I send my student to school and they're not getting. So I think the earlier this is actually aligned, if we find lasting solutions to the strikes in universities, because it keeps coming again and again and again, and we can have the same song again and again. Well, I think this needs to be aligned. Mala will be having solutions on deck, of course, with some of the experts shortly after me. It's still Morning at 10 TV, and I stay Andrew Chamagero Omuntu Awansi, and we are live. We are not going the way side. They're saying it's a warning. Kwanzaa. Good morning.